Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my restoration channel where I bring one derelict sailboat back to life at a time. You can see last week I started removing all the bottom paint and just about got all of that off. There's just a few spots, you know, under the stands that I need to get, and of course this area right here, which is no big deal. But now I'm going to start on repairing the keel, getting that back so that I can get this boat back in the water. So you can see I started taking this apart, and so I tapped, and it was a little hollow right up here at the top, and I got the pulling right here, and it just pulled apart real easy. So, and that's as far as I can get it without just ripping it apart, and I don't want to do that. So same thing over here, but I didn't get very far on that side, just a little ways, but it's solid back here. You can see we're solid back here. Right there is where it's hollow, so I'm going to cut this off right here, and then use a fair, and I'll sand all this back and re-glass this whole area and secure it just better than it was before. It's very solid. I mean, there's nothing, the keel's on there good, and you can see here is where the keel to boat joint is, or hull joint is right there. And that's all solid. There's no issue here. But I'm gonna take this delaminated glass off and re-fair and glass this whole area, and then I'll do the bottom paint. So should be interesting. So you can see this is the hull to keel joint right here, and this peeled off. That's gel coat right here. All this is gel coat. The gel coat peeled off in this area where the gel coat peeled off, but you can see the gel coat still underneath that. But whenever I peeled this off, you can see the section right here that the gel coat come off. But other than that, there's no delamination here, and I'll clean all this up and re-glass this. You can see they didn't do a real good job when they glued the fiberglass to the lead, but I'll sand all this back and across here and back, and I'll put a whole piece of several layers of fiberglass across this and over all this, and then I'll sand that and then fair it back. You can see this right here is not bonded. The fiberglass is not bonded real well to the lead, so I'll take this back right here. But this all looks good. There's no issues in the hull here, and none of this really broke apart. I used a pry bar to pull this out just to be sure, but it all looks good. Just gotta put it back now. All right, I'm going to change from a thin grinding bit, which works really good, to a floppy disk. I think this is like 60 or 80 grit floppy disk. Put that on there and then sand it better. You can see what I was using. It's kind of like a diamond bit, and it lasts a long time. If you use the little brown composite wheels, they break apart easy. You spend a little bit more, you get this, and I've used this for a long time. All right, so I show you what I did here. I drilled a hole through this broken area and I filled it full with 610 thickened epoxy adhesive. I filled all of that area full and then clamped it down with this bolt. And the only reason that's there is so that when I sand this all back, to fill in any voids, this way I'll be able to save the shape right here, because I'm gonna have to sand all this away, and I don't want it to just disappear and then I have to reconstruct it. But this way I'll have some structure in here to sand away and then put back. And right now I put some of the thickened epoxy right here as a fillet. It's still wet. And I'm fixing to lay glass over this to try and build up this area right here, because it's quite a bit lower than the rest of it. So I got to build this back up. I'm going to put some glass in here, and fairing and glass, a lot of glass, and then I'll be able to do a final several layers across the whole keel, and between the keel and the hull, just all the way up like this, several layers. All right, you can see here that I've went ahead and put the fairing compound over the fiberglass, and you see here where I've sanded all of this, which I've got some more sanding to do here at the back, but this is all going to be fiberglassed. And this is a low spot where the fiberglass had come loose. I've sanded all that back and done some fairing on it, so I'm fixing to sand all this, get that smooth, and then I'll be able to start laying the fiberglass through here. So I'm going to get to that. I spent the last several days putting up several layers of fiberglass from here around on the keel and the keel deck joint, or keel to hull joint. And I'm getting ready now to start fairing this. So I'll fair this in and then sand that, and then I'll put the barrier coat back over it, and that'll be it. Trying to get all the, I've sanded this, but you have a lot of, it's kind of wavy. So inside these little areas, the epoxy is shiny. So I'm using this Brillo pad to make sure everything is dull and scratched up, so that the fairing compound will make a really nice bond. All right, so I've finally got the hull sanded. I've got the keel faired in, fiberglassed and faired back, and now it's ready for some barrier coat and bottom paint. Okay, so like I said, I finished the keel. I sanded all this back and grounded the keel to deck joint, or keel to hull joint right in here. Ground all that back and put several layers of fiberglass on it, and then I probably put about 4 layers of the fairing compound on here. So I would put the fairing on it, sand that smooth, then have to go over it again. I think I did that 4 or 5 times. But anyway, it is all ready for the barrier coat, and of course the bottom paint, which I'll do all that hopefully in the next video. But I've got some pretty big news coming up. I'm looking for a sailboat to cruise to the Caribbean in. So I've been traveling a lot with work. So and of course it's hot, so I can't work in here a lot. That's why the number of videos have slowed down a lot. But it's just a busy season for my job, so I have to travel a lot. But I've also been doing a little bit of travel for looking at sailboats in Florida and along the Gulf Coast. But anyway, hopefully some news with that will be in the next video. So until then, I'll see you next week. Thanks.